All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We are diving deep into one of India's most competitive exams, the test to get a job at the Reserve Bank. But we're not just going to look at the questions. No, we're going to peel back the layers and uncover the hidden logic behind them to really figure out what it takes to succeed. Let's get right into it.
So, what does it really take? I mean, is it just about cramming facts and memorizing formulas, or is there something deeper going on here? We're going to treat this whole exam like a giant puzzle. We'll break down actual questions to understand the kind of mindset you need to have to solve it.
Okay, so let's start where the exam itself starts, inside what I like to call the language labyrinth. This first section isn't just testing if you can read, it's testing if you can understand all the subtle layers of meaning, of perspective, and the logic that's kind of hidden between the lines. To show you what I mean, let's just look at this reading passage. It paints a picture, right? You've got this quiet town, a super dedicated scientist, and these experiments that are, well, they're causing a bit of a stir. The townspeople? They're pretty annoyed by all the noise and the power cuts. But here's the twist. Not everyone sees it that way.
And that leads us to a really key question. While the rest of the town just sees a disturbance, the story also has this young boy. So how does he see these exact same events? Take a second. What do you think?
The correct answer is as an opportunity. And this is so revealing. You see, the exam isn't just testing your reading comprehension. It's testing your ability to analyze different perspectives, to understand motive. It's about seeing the same situation from multiple viewpoints, which, let's be honest, is a pretty crucial skill for just about any job.
Okay, so from that big picture comprehension, let's zoom all the way in for our next challenge, the grammar gauntlet. Here, the game totally changes. It's all about absolute precision, where every single word matters. Take a look at this sentence. It seems simple enough. It kind of sounds right, doesn't it? But there's a critical error hiding there in plain sight. Can you spot it?
The mistake is in that one little word, then. You know, it's a super common error people make in everyday conversation, which is exactly why it's on the test. They want to see if you know the formal, correct rule.
And the rule is actually pretty simple. You always prefer one thing to another. So the correct sentence is, people prefer mobile games to storybooks. It's a classic test, not of your intelligence, but of your precision when you're under pressure. Now this next challenge, it tests a totally different skill, logical structuring. So you're given a story, but it's all chopped up into pieces, and you have to put it back together. So where do you start? Well, you look for the beginning, the origin of the story, which is clearly C, the mention of a trip. The next logical step, well, they have to go on the trip, so that's D. Then you get the character's reaction in E, she loves the village, which then leads to her request in A. The father's response naturally follows in B, and the whole thing wraps up with a nice resolution in F. See, it's really just a puzzle of cause and effect.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. We're leaving the world of language and jumping headfirst into logic. The quantitative aptitude section isn't really about being a math genius. It's about thinking strategically and turning complicated problems into simple ones, really, really fast.
So then you get hit with this, a super dense word problem. It's just a cloud of percentages and ratios and data points about different companies. When you're on a timer, this can feel like total chaos. But the key isn't to solve it in your head, it's to organize that chaos. And this is how you do it. You literally translate the words into a simple table. The trick is to find one solid number that can anchor everything else. We know company C sold 192 digital watches, and that was 40% of its sales. A quick calculation tells you its total sales must be 480. Now you look at that 7 to 9 to 6 ratio. If C's 6 part is 480, that means each point in the ratio is worth 80. And from there, boom, you can fill in the entire table. The chaos becomes a clear, simple grid.
Now, here's a different kind of monster. This looks like straightforward arithmetic, but trust me, it's a trap. This whole question is designed to catch you if you don't follow a very, very specific order of operations.
The only, and I mean the only way to solve this correctly is to rigidly apply the BODS or PEMDAS rule. You have to do the brackets first, then the of or orders, and so on. The math itself, it's easy. The real test here is your discipline. Can you follow the procedure perfectly without trying to take any shortcuts?
And finally, you'll face a pure data interpretation challenge. Here's a table, a grid of numbers, showing accounts opened by 4 companies over 4 months. The entire goal here is to quickly find and compare specific pieces of information inside this grid.
For example, a question might ask you to compare the total accounts from February versus April. Now, you could add up the numbers, but just visualizing it as a bar chart makes the difference pop immediately. February's total is 13,300, while April's is 18,000. It's all about quickly pulling data together for a fast comparison. So, after trekking through language, grammar, and numbers, what's the final code? What is this RBI Assistant Exam really testing, beyond the subjects themselves? It really all boils down to these 5 core skills. This isn't just a test on school subjects. It's a test of your speed. How fast can you process information? Your accuracy. Can you apply the rules without making a single mistake? Your attention to detail, your logic under pressure, and your ability to translate chaos into clarity. Ultimately, this exam is so much less about what you've memorized and so much more about your mental agility. It's basically a performance under pressure. It's not a test of what you know, but a test of how you think. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. Do exams designed this way, testing speed, accuracy, and logic under all this intense pressure, do they really identify the best people for the job, or do they just find the people who are best at taking the test? It's definitely something worth pondering.